Welcome back, my dear students. Here in this part, strategies companies use to avoid unionization. Is it like that the unionization is not favorable for the employers? Yes, because it forced them to pay more money for the workers and compensations and so on. So most organizations feel the constraints of having union organization are too great. It affects the costs to the organization, of course, because the unions ask for more pay, more working conditions, better working conditions, extra hours, like bonus and motives, extra and more motives to the employees, and it affects also the operations official. Collective bargaining at times can put management to add to odds with its employees and cost more to produce the products and services. Ideally, companies will provide safe working conditions, fair pay, and benefits so the employees do not feel they need to form a union. There are, there are three main phases of unionizations. First phase, your organization is union free and there is a little or no interest in unionizing. Or you learn that some employees are discussing unionization, or you learn about specific attempts by the unions to recruit employees. Third, you receive a petition from the National Labor Relations Board filed by a union requesting a unionization vote. So because of the increased cost and operation efficiency, it is normally in a company's best interest to avoid unionization. Look at this, to avoid unionization. It's best for the company to avoid the unionization. Yeah, to avoid unionization. Because it's very it's more to the companies that will cost too much for the companies to join the unionization. Some of the arguments that might be used, including talking with the employees by mentioning the following: unions dues are costly. Look at this. So you won't let the people vote no for the union. Union dues are costly. Employees could be forced to go on strike. Employees and management may no longer be able to discuss matters informally and individually. Employees and management, because always the union will be there, it will put its nose. Unionization can create more bureaucracy within the company. Individual issues may not be discussed. Many decisions with the union, such as vacation time, are based on seniority only. So it's only the old people. So these are some points which is considered drawbacks for the unions. Unions dues are costly because everyone will pay, every employee will pay membership amount to the union. Employees could be forced to go on a strike. Employees and management may no longer be able to discuss the matters informally. Unionization can create more bureaucracy within the company. Individual issues may not be discussed, and many decisions, like the vacation time, are based on the seniority. So this we can say those are drawbacks of the union. And I will write this question right now, and we will say what are the disadvantages of unions? What are the disadvantages of unions? What are the disadvantages of joining a union? Of course, it's including all these points. Here we go. What are the disadvantages of joining a union? And shall stop here a few minutes for you guys to get the answer, write the answer back. And the answer, like I showed you here right now, what are the disadvantages of unions or joining a union? Again, I would say to you guys, unions due are costly. Employees could be forced to go on a strike. Yes, the union will tell them go on a strike. Employees and management may no longer be able to discuss matters individually because always the union will interfere. Unionization can create more bureaucracy. Yes, because the procedures will be more, the documentation and so on. Individuals' issues may not be discussed, and many of the focus will be for the seniors only. Here we go. And here we go for the question. What are the disadvantages of unions? What are the disadvantages of unions? So we'll keep here a few minutes for answering this question. Thank you. And the answer, like I said before, here, the points of the answers are here. These are the disadvantages of joining a union. These are the disadvantages of joining a union. Perfect. This was the question of what are the disadvantages of joining a union. We'll move forward now into another part about the unions. These are cases from the impact of union on organization. How can the union affect the organization. So here, as we have mentioned, since unions workers do receive higher wages, this can be negative impact on the organization. Exactly. Union play a big role for the help of the workers, which come on the accounts or when they come the considerations or the concerns of the organizations. Unionization will also impact the ability of managers to make certain decisions because and limits their freedom when working with employees. Yes, because the unionize originate the relationship between employees and employers, or the owners of the business and the workers. Also, if an employee is constantly late to work, the union contract will specify how to discipline in this situation, resulting in little management freedom to handle this situation on a case-by-case basis. So it will tell him, don't fire this guy because he came late, but you should take steps like blah, 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 blah. Okay, in 2010, for example, the Art Institute of Seattle faculty filed signatures and voted on unionization. So this is the reasons why people do not like, or the owners of the business do not like the unionization. Also, one more point, a union contract might stipulate certain terms such as seniority for promotion, which means managers has less control over employees he or she had and can promote. So no more control. So union like restricts the freedom of employer when he's doing his job at his organization. These are the main points which we talk about today in this chapter. Union memberships in the United States has been slowly declining. Today, union memberships consist only of 11.9% of the workforce, but it was 20% in 1983. The reason for the decline are varied depending on whom you ask. Some say the moving of jobs overseas is the reason for the declination of the unions because most of the works now became overseas, while others says unions' hardline tactics put them out of favor. Besides declining memberships, union challenges today include globalization and companies wanting a union-free workplace. So there are companies, they don't want the unions. They hate to work with unions because unions restrict the managers and restrict them in their dealing with their own workers. The United States begins its first labor movement in the 1800s. This was a result of low wages. Because of the low wages, that's why the unions appear in the United States. Vacation time, safety issues, and other issues. Many labor organizations have disappeared, labor organizations, but the American Federation of Labor still exists today, although it merged with the Congress of Industrial Organization, it's another place. The United States has low numbers of union members compared with other countries. For example, for Europe, has over 30% of workforce in labor unions, while in some other countries, 50% of work are members in labor unions, but the United States is less than owners. Legislations have been created over time, like we said, the evolution of the legislations for the labor unions to support both labor unions and companies, to support both labor unions and the companies. Started with the Railway Acts and the Norris Act and this, and then the Wagner Act, then Taft-Hartley Act, then the National Labor Relation Board. These are some points. To form a union, we said the organizer must have a signature of 30% of the employees. If this cause occurs, the National Labor Relation Board will facilitate a card check to determine more than 50% of the workforce at the company they agree on joining a union. So 50% of the workers will agree to join a union. And this will make it legally possible. Companies prefer to not have unions. That's what we said before in their organization because it affects costs and operational productivity. Companies will usually try to prevent unions from organizing in their workplace. However, we see also that the owner the owner of the business or the employer should not interfere in the process of unionizing by threatening the workers or whatever. If they join the union, he will do this or he will do that. No. Managers are impacted when a company does unionized because of residual costs. For example, management rights are affected and everything must be guided by the contract instead of the management prerogative. So, yeah. So instead of the management doing its decision by its own self, now the decision are restricted by the union decisions, which is there before. This is a chapter. In this chapter, we had questions today. The questions which we had state the main bargaining issues. What are the types of strikes? Define grievance and what are the procedures to solve it? What are the steps in grievance procedures? Discuss the unionization process. We have also questioned what are the things should not be done by the employer during unionization process. And we have what are the disadvantages of unions. These are the things which we had today regarding the unions. These are the things which we had today regarding the unions. Shall leave you right now and see you in the next video.